time of year is when universities all across the country begin sending out their acceptance letters, but a delay in the FAFSA process could push everything back. So Gordon, you've been taking some time speaking with experts about all of these things, about what it means for a lot of students out there. Let's talk about the timeline. How does this affect the timeline of the applying process?
Yeah, this entire episode of Your Money is focusing on saving for college and the financial aid process. And there's a lot of big changes that happen this year that are really affecting college students and their families. Usually the FAFSA form comes out in October, and that's when students can start filling it out. And then they have all that winter and all that spring the universities do to kind of make their decisions on which students should get financial aid and how much. Well, they made a lot of changes to make the form so much easier to fill out, but they also had some hiccups along the way. So the colleges and universities aren't going to be receiving these letters, we found out recently, until the middle of March. So that's way later than they're used to receiving these forms. And so a lot of students have to make their decisions about which college to go to by May 1st. That's kind of a deadline that a lot of universities have. But we're finding out that a lot of these students and their families might not get their acceptance offers from these universities until April, maybe mid to late April, maybe even May at the latest. So the timeline is really crunched this year because of all these changes. So some of these students and their families, they might get these offers from the university and have days to figure it out.
Ooh, that's a tough kitchen table conversation. I mean, I know when I was trying to figure out where I was going to college, this was the first thing that we needed to figure out.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the flip side of this, right? How could this delay possibly help families?
Well, all of these changes were actually made to make the whole process easier for students and families. If I remember correctly, one of the experts was saying that some people had to answer more than 100 questions on the FAFSA form, and it could take you an hour or more. Now they've been able to sync up with the IRS and use your information from your tax returns so that a lot of those questions are figured out with that information. So you only have to answer maybe like a dozen or 24 questions. You can fill out the FAFSA in just a couple of minutes. So that's the positive side of this. That's why they made these changes. But in the short term, that's why we're seeing some of these problems. So next year, hopefully and beyond, all of these problems will be figured out and it'll be a much more easy process to get through.
I know patience is a virtue, but what can students out there do while they wait?
Best thing to do is to go out on those college visits, figure out everything you need to figure out, and have the last thing be the financial aid offer. Get everything else kind of your ducks in a row so that when that information comes, you can just look at the offers and figure out which school offers the best situation and have all the other questions answered already.
All these life lessons. Gordon, thank you. And of course, you can find out more about this entire process on this week's Your Money. It's up on KARE 11 Plus right now.